You guys have been waiting for this, so let's get straight into it. Let's learn how to play Flygon Control. In this video, we're going to be going over the deck list, explanation of the cards, some test hand, and a gameplay on Pokemon PTCG Live. And of course, I have all the timestamp right down below if you want to skip around the video. Let's start off with the deck list. For the Pokemon, you have 2 Trapinch, 2 Flygon, 2 Pidgey, 2 Pidgeot EX, 1 Wellspring Ogerpon EX, 1 Cornerstone Ogerpon EX, 1 Lumineon V, 1 Rotom V, 1 Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, 1 Iron Thorns EX, 1 Fezandipiti EX, 1 Mimikyu, and 1 Klefki. For the supporter, you have 4 Arvins, 2 Ionos, 1 Erie, 1 Professor Turo Scenario, 1 Penny, 1 Kieran, 1 Xerosic, 1 Thorin, and 1 Boss's Order. For the items, you have 3 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Buddy Buddy Poffin, 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball, 4 Rare Candy, 1 Feather Ball, 1 Night Stretcher, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Lost Vacuum, 1 Pal Pad, 1 Forest Seal Stone, 1 Future Booster Energy Capsule, 1 Sparkling Crystal, and 1 Rescue Board. For the Stadium, we have 1 Lost City. For the energies, we have 2 Double Turbo and 3 Fighting Energy. And here's an overview of the deck. Now let's go over all the cards and what it does. We'll start off with Flygon EX, which is your main attacker of this deck. We're only going to be using him for his first attack, which costs 1 fighting energy and does 130 damage. But it has a cool ability that lets you switch him to the bench after you attack. So basically, you attack with him and then switch out a Pokemon from your bench to stall your opponent. We will talk about all the different Pokemons we can switch into real soon. Let's quickly talk about Pidgeot EX. It is mainly there for its ability. Once per turn, you can search out 1 card from your deck and add it to your hand. Extremely busted card you guys don't know by now. I get this question a lot. How do we evolve Pidgeot EX and Flygon EX without their middle evolution? And the answer to that question is we have Rare Candy, which lets you skip an evolution of a Pokemon. Before we move on to the other attackers, let's keep talking about the supporting Pokemon. You have Rotom V, which you are only using for the ability, which states once per turn you may draw 3 cards and it'll end your turn. This card is mainly for your first turn only. Next we have Lumineon V, which we're also using for its ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand, you may search your deck for 1 supporter card and add it to your hand. Really important to get whatever supporter you need during your turn. And since we're running Forest Seal Stone in this list, these 2 cards are very important as well, but we'll talk more about that later. And lastly we have Fezandipiti EX, which we'll also mainly use for its ability as well. If your opponent knock out your Pokemon last turn, you get to draw 3 cards. Another broken card in this meta right now. Alright, let's get into all the different attackers. First we have the Cornerstone Ogerpon EX. He has the ability that lets you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacking a Pokemon that has ability. So basically you want to use this Pokemon against a deck that has a lot of Pokemon that has ability. For example, like Charizard EX and Regidrago V-Star. His attack costs 1 fighting energy and 2 colorless, and does 140 damage, and the attack isn't affected by a weakness or resistant, as well as any effects of your opponent's Pokemon. And since we're running a fighting energy and a double turbo, we can use this to attack. Next we have Wellspring Ogerpon EX. We're going to be using both of his attack depending on the situation. The first one is to stall out your opponent. For 1 colorless energy, it does 20 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon cannot retreat. So if you know your opponent is out of switching option, this is a good way to win the game. But we can also use the second attack as well. For 1 water energy and 2 colorless, it does 100 damage. But if you shuffle 3 energy attached to this Pokemon, it can do 120 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And since we're running the Crystal Ace spec, if we have it attached, we can use the second attack without the water energy. So his second attack is very useful to knock out multiple Pokemon. Next we have Iron Thorns EX. We aren't really using him for his attack, but we are using him for his ability, which states, as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, Pokemon with the rule box in play has no ability. This is to slow down your opponent or prevent them from playing the game. This card is really good to Lugia, Regidrago V-Star, and maybe even Charizard. Next we have Klefki, which is also good for its ability. As long as Klefki is in the active spot, basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. This is really good into any decks that have all basic Pokemon. For example, Raging Bolt, Lost Box, and the new deck that has been going around, Cloth. Next we have Mimikyu, which is also there for its ability. It prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attack from your opponent's Pokemon EX and Pokemon V. It's good into a lot of decks in this meta. And lastly we have Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. It's there as a late game attacker. Because of its ability, his attack costs 1 less energy for each prize card your opponent has taken. So your opponent is down to 1 prize, you can attack with this for free for 240 damage. So basically with this deck, you want to attack with Flygon and then switch into one of your other Pokemon depending on which deck you're going against. Let's talk about the supporter now. Arvin lets you search out 1 item and 1 tool card from your deck. And we're running a lot of items in this deck, especially our Ace spec. Iono lets you draw and disrupt your opponent. Erie lets you look at your opponent's hand and discard 2 item cards. Getting rid of your opponent's key item card can help you win the game for sure. Professor Turo and Penny is kind of similar. They both let you put one of your Pokemons in play back into your hand. The only difference is Professor Turo lets you put any Pokemon, but you have to discard all the cards. While Penny is only basic Pokemon and you get to keep all the attached cards to them. It's useful to bring back Pokemon that you don't need. Kieran has 2 abilities. You can either use them to switch your active Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, or you can do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX or Pokemon V. I find myself using both effects pretty often. Xerosic makes your opponent discard their hand until they have 3 cards. Sometimes when you're stalling out your opponent, they have a really big hand, so this is really important. Thorin lets you switch a basic Pokemon in your discard pile to one of your basic Pokemon in play. This card is really good to outplay your opponent. Boss's Order lets you switch from your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active. Let's talk about the items now. First we have Nest Ball, which lets you search out your deck for a basic Pokemon and add it to the bench. Ultra Ball lets you search out any Pokemon from your deck and add it to your hand by discarding 2 cards. Buddy Poffin lets you search out 2 basic Pokemon that are 70 HP or less and add it to the bench. Featherball lets you search out a Pokemon that has no retreat cost and add it to your hand. It is mainly there to get Pidgeot EX out. Hisuian and Heavy Ball lets you look at your prizes, and if there is any basic Pokemon in there, you can replace it with a Heavy Ball. And since you're running a lot of one-offs in this deck, this is a really good card to get out your Pokemon that you need. We already talked a little bit about Red Candy earlier in this video, but it basically lets you skip an evolution. Night Stretcher lets you put a Pokemon or a basic energy from your discard pile back to your hand. Counter Catcher lets you switch from your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot, but you can only use it if you have more prizes than your opponent. Lost Vacuum lets you get rid of 1 Stadium or 1 tool in play by putting 1 card in the Lost Zone. Palpal lets you recycle 2 supporters and add it back to your deck. Forest Seal Stone is a V-Star ability, so you can only use it once per game, but it lets you search your deck for 1 card and add it to your hand. But you must attach this to a V Pokemon, which is why you have Rotom V and Lumineon V. Future Booster Energy Capsule is mainly there for Iron Thorns, because the effect lets the future Pokemon that is attached to has no retreat costs. So we have a free retreat with Iron Thorns and attack with Flygon again. Next we have Rescue Board. The retreat cost of the Pokemon that is attached to is 1 less. And most of the Pokemon that we use have 1 retreat cost. Once again, we want to retreat, so we can attack with Flygon again. And lastly we have Sparkling Crystal. This card only works if it is attached to a Terra Pokemon. When it's attached, the attack of the Terra Pokemon is 1 less. So you can attack with Flygon with no energy if this is attached. Pretty nice card in my opinion. For the Stadium, we're running 1 Lost City. Whenever a Pokemon is knocked out, it goes into the Lost Zone instead of the discard pile. Really important card to get rid of your opponent's Pokemon. Let's quickly go over Double Turbo Energy. Double Turbo counts as 2 energy, but the Pokemon it is attached to does 20 less damage. We mainly have this for Cornerstone and Wellspring Ogerpon. Our Bloodmoon Ursaluna if we really need it. That is it for the explanation of this deck. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments. Alright, let's do some test hand. We're gonna have one for going first and one for going second. But this deck, you really want to go first. Jumping into our first test hand, this will be for going first. It's gonna be a little hard to kind of do test hands just because this deck relies on the matchup. So we don't really have like a pretend matchup we can do. So I'm just gonna do like a more generic start or a generic setup. Right, we shuffle good enough. Offer our opponent they want to cut or tap. Pretend to be our opponent. And then let's draw our 7. Let's see if we start with a basic. We have 4, 3. See, we have a basic. We start with a Cornerstone, which is good against certain matchups, but yeah, not a bad start. And we have Double Turbo in hand and an energy. Let's do our prizes. So we do 6 prizes, and then let's start the game. Once again, we're going first. Draw. Arven's really good. I think I'm going to use the Heavy Ball here just to see if we have anything in our prizes that we can get out. So Pidgey's good. We'll take the Pidgey for sure. And we didn't prize too many important things in there. So we shuffle, put back our prizes. And then I think we do have to use the Ultra Ball here to get out a Trapinch. I don't want to get rid of the Arven, so that's for next turn. Honestly, actually, I think we get rid of both the energy here. We're gonna get rid of both of the energy. No, we're gonna get rid of 1 Flygon. Yeah, let's get rid of energy and a Flygon, because we're gonna get out a Rotom. We're gonna do the Rotom here, and then we can use the Forest Seal Stone, activate our V-Star, pretend I have a V-Star marker right here, to get a Buddy Poffin to start setting up. So activate the Buddy Poffin. So we're gonna have a Trapinch, and then I'm gonna set up another Trapinch, just pretending like our opponent is gonna boss one up anyways. So we can have one set up. We shuffle our deck, shuffle, shuffle. Offer our opponent if they want to cut or tap. So we place these down. We have a Rotom. This is a pretty good setup. We have Pidgey for next turn. If they don't knock it out, we have Trapinch. We have a Double Turbo that we can attach to our Cornerstone. And then we have Arven for next turn. And then we also use Instant Charge to end our turn. So that means we draw 3. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Not the best 3 cards, but we do have Arven in hand to see what we can do next turn. But that's basically it for our going first hand. Jumping into our second hand, this will be for going second. We're gonna be shuffling a little bit. Going second is not too bad since we do have access to supporter, which means we can Arven and start setting up more Pokemon. And it depends on what we start. We can always start with like a Mimikyu, a Cornerstone, a Klefki that could slow down our opponent. So the chance of them attacking is pretty slim. All right, let's offer our opponent they like to cut or tap. We're gonna do a small cut this time. Let's draw our 7. There is 4. There is 3. See, we have a basic. We have a Trapinch, a Pidgey, Very good start, to be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Trapinch and the active. Let's set our prizes. 6 to the left of us. All right, let's start our turn. We're gonna draw for turn. So for sure, we're gonna put down the Pidgey. I think I'm gonna Arven first, because regardless of what we get, depending on our prizes, I do want to get probably a Buddy of Hoffman to set up more. And we're gonna use the nest ball to get Rotom V if it is still there. If it's not prize, I mean. Yeah, so we do have Rotom V here. I don't think we need the Forest Seal Stone. So we can for sure get Buddy of Hoffman. So let's get the Buddy of Hoffman first. We get the Buddy of Hoffman. I think, depending on the matchup, I might want to get a rescue board to bring back our Trapinch unless we have an energy. We do have a double turbo. Let's check if we have another double turbo. So we have 2 double turbo. I guess we don't mind getting rid of. But I guess we do get the Forest Seal Stone here. Or do we get the rescue board? I think I get the rescue board. Just because we only run 2 double turbos, kind of risky not having the double turbo. So we're gonna Buddy of Hoffman. So let's pretend like our opponent is running all EX type Pokemon or type deck. So we're for sure getting another Trapinch in case it gets knocked out here. And then we're gonna get a Mimikyu, which we definitely saw earlier. So we get those 2 out to the bench. This goes to our hand. This goes to the discard pile. This is to the discard pile. And then we're gonna for sure use the nest ball to get out our Rotom V right here. And we're gonna stall our opponent, forcing them to either boss up one of our Trapinch or boss up our Rotom. So offer our opponent to cut or tap. And we do have Iono in our hand for next turn in case our hand is dead. So we put the rescue board on the Trapinch, which means it has free retreat cost now. And we're gonna retreat into our Mimikyu to stall out the game. So for example, if we're going against maybe like Cloth, Raging Bolt, basic deck, you wanna get a Klefki out. If you go against Lugia, you might wanna retreat into a Iron Thorns. It just all depends on the matchup. Mimikyu is probably the most generic one, most basic one that you wanna use most of the time. So now that is it that we can do for our hand. We just end our turn by doing instant charge, which will draw 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have the Arven, we have the energy. So we have a good amount of things that we can do next turn because Arven can get out Forest Seal Stone and a rare candy if we need. We have the energy to attack. There's a lot of things we can do. Arven uses Iono and hope for the best. But yep, that is it for our turn 2.
All right, let's play a game on Pokemon TCG Live.
Jumping into our game, our opponent gets to decide on the coin flip, and they chose tails. So let's see if they win or not, because we do want to go first with this deck. It looks like they won, which most likely mean we probably have to go second. And yeah, we do have to go second. So kind of behind going second. It's not too bad. You can always try to start with the 1 prize board, but sometimes you want to put down the Rotom. So we start with Trapinch, but we do have Arven, so we can definitely set up for sure. And our opponent is Mulligan. They have 2 Meadow Energy, so it could either be Goldango. They had Iono, so it might not be Goldango. The only other metal deck is either Dialga or got 1 Mulligan or Duraludon. So they're starting with the Relicanth, so it's for sure Duraludon, which is kind of a easy matchup for us. We either put down Cornerstone or we put down Mimikyu. Mimikyu, they can attack with the 1 prizer and kill it right away. Cornerstone, they has to take them a little bit, so they still have a chance to win. But let's see if they can get out a Duraludon. They're heavy balling. Checking their prizes. It's the Bloodmoon Ursaluna. But they got Greninja, which means they have energy in hand anyways. Or we got a Buddy of Hoffman from the Mulligan, which is really good. So we can use Arven for maybe even another Buddy of Hoffman if we need to. They don't have a Duraludon setup, so that's interesting. So we're for sure getting a Pidgey and just a Mimikyu here, just because we know
They can't kill our Trapinch on the active. And we also have that energy. We can also use the attack call for family. Yeah, I realize I didn't really prize check, but good thing we have a heavy ball. Now we know what's in our prizes. We got the Cornerstone, which is also good. I might as well just put it down right now. Or I can save it, but we don't really... We know for sure they can't attack. So we might as well just put it down. And then we can attach and use Call for Family. We can probably set up another Trapinch just in case. But other than that, we don't need anything else. We could even play Iron Thorns here so they can't accelerate the energies. But they can just boss around it. I think Archduraludon runs maybe like 2 to 3 bosses and a counter catcher, I'm guessing. So we got the Earthen Vessel. They're definitely gonna, they need a Duraludon. But I guess they're on top deck mode. They just need a... They're only using Greninja to try to find their Duraludon. But we do have boss in hand. And we have the Ultra Ball to get our Flygon. And there's the Iono. So we lost a way to get Flygon out for sure. We got the rare candy. But no way to get Ultra Ball. Do we even want to put this Lost City down? Because if they can kill the Mimikyu, we might lose it if they can kill it with a 1-prizer. Or like a non-EX Pokemon. My opponent's taking a little bit. Will they just pass? They do not have a Duraludon. Okay, it's a very bad start by them. So, oh, we got the Arven, so we can get the Ultra Ball here. And then we can get whatever tool. It doesn't really matter. We can do the Rescue Board. So that way we can attach it to our Mimikyu or our Cornerstone, whatever we decide to put up. For sure, get rid of the Nest Ball and the Fez, because we know they can't kill us anytime soon. We can always Nice Stretcher back the Fez. I forgot to check if they have a Nice Stretcher. We only run one, but... Oh no, Nice Stretcher, it should be in deck. We checked the prizes already. So yeah, I'm going to put the Lost City down. Kind of messes up a little bit, but we can get rid of the Relicanth, which means they can only do 220. But we're getting rid of their resources. No Relicanth for them, and then we do have Iono in hand for next turn, because our hand's kind of dead. But you know for sure we can kill this Raining Greninja if they don't retreat it. I do want to try to set up Pidgeot, just so we can get whatever card we need and try to do things. They're playing it with Trolley. Very interesting. I see most lists runs either the Belt or I can't think of another. Oh, they're running a Scyther too, so they have a Scizor line. We want to get rid of that Scyther as soon as possible, just because their Scizor can get through our Mimikyu. So they're just gonna Cleffa here. Cleffa for 1. They're gonna Cleffa for 1. Yeah, I can't think of what other ace spec. Maybe like a Scoop Up Cyclone that most lists would run. Just so like when people try to... It's really hard to do 300 damage. So it's like they would attack, scoop it up, set up a new one, and then you're attacking again. So yeah, they have Cleffa. Are they gonna try? Yeah, they're gonna try to get rid of their hand so they can draw a little more. So now the Clef can draw 2. Yeah, just drawing 2. We're most likely just gonna Iono because our hand's kind of dead. We have Arven, not what we need. Yeah, I'm gonna attach this crystal here. That way we can start accelerating like the fighting energy, so we can do 140 instead of 120. But we might just have to attach this double turbo. Yeah, we attach that, and then let's just. That's all we could really do. Attack with the Cleffa. And most likely, they're going to try to use Scizor to attack our Mimikyu here. Which is why the Lost City kind of messed us up a little bit. Because if they kill the Mimikyu, we only have to rely on the Cornerstone. And we don't run any other stadium to bump it. We do have a Lost Vacuum. So we can get rid of our own stadium if we need. Does their opponent have the Scizor though? Okay, they do have the Scizor, and they only need 1 Metal Energy, and Scizor does 50 damage for each Pokemon on my side of the field that has a ability. So right now they can do 150 and then plus 10 for the base. But we can't even one-shot this Scizor though. That's the unfortunate thing because Flygon only does 130. There's the energy. And they have the Rigid Band, so that's like, I believe, 30 less damage too. So we have to 2-shot this Scizor, sadly. But let's see. They can for sure kill the Mimikyu. And then we probably just, once we attack with Flygon, we just gotta promote the Cornerstone. And they have Vitality Band. Very interesting play. They can't even attach it right now. But I'm guessing they're gonna attach it to the Duraludon later to do 230. I believe the other card, the item card they got was an Ultra Ball. So are they gonna set up their Arch Duraludon? What are they thinking? Oh, they have a Counter Catcher. They decided to Counter Catch up my Cornerstone, which is fine. If you guys look at our hand, we have a Penny. Let's just Penny it up and see what they can do with that. It kind of saves our Mimikyu too. So we're gonna Penny back up like nothing happened. Put up the Flygon. Then we're gonna put back. And then I'm gonna attach again. I'm gonna save the crystal this time. And then I think I'm still gonna put up the Cornerstone. Because even if they do damage, they can't one-shot it. Yeah, so we're only doing 100. So we can knock it out next turn. And then it goes straight to a Lost City if they don't like find a way to have their own Penny. Most Arch Duraludon lists maybe run 1 or 2 Penny. So yeah, I hope you guys understand the deck so far. Is literally attack with Flygon and switch into something else that your opponent has to either bring up the Flygon or find a way to get around it. So like canceling Cologne, using a different attacker. So our deck is really annoying. And if you find my content helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. We are trying to hit 50,000 subs. But even if you don't sub, it's okay. You're still watching my content. I appreciate you. And the people that are sub, I appreciate you guys even more, though. Yeah, so they're doing 110. They didn't do much that turn. I think, yeah, we can put the Sparkling Crystal here. And then I messed up here. I should have just Feather Ball for the Pidgeot. So I still have cards in my hand. Yeah, we're going to put down the Lumineon to get Arvin for Rare Candy. Yeah, I messed up there. I should have just Feather Ball. Like, I completely forgot that we have Feather Ball. Alright, so Rare Candy. And then this Forest Seal Stone. Because now we're just going to keep attacking with Cornerstone. We don't really need a movement. Once we kill the Scizor, they won't have another attacking option. Unless they run a 2-2 line. But yeah, I think the best move is just to get the energy here. I'm getting a Thornton for next turn. I forgot we have the crystal. We don't need the energy. That's a mess up on my part. But yeah, Scizor is gone unless they're running a second one. So we don't have to worry about that for now. We just got our future booster capsule, which we don't need. So now we have Pidgeot set up. You get whatever card we need. I got the Thornton just in case they attack with the 1 prize Duraludon here. I can at least Thorn back the Cornerstone. Because they can still evolve their back Duraludon and then accelerate the 2 energies to the front Duraludon. And they can use the first attack that does 80 damage. Yeah, they're Ultra Balling. They're definitely getting the Arch Duraludon here. Oh, they're running 2 Relicanth. Oh, they're getting a Fez? Do they have the Arch Duraludon in their hand? Imagine if they whiff that. Don't tell me they whiffed that. Got the nest ball. I don't think they support her yet, so maybe they're gonna Iono us. Oh, they have Knife Stretcher. Do they have Arstralodon in their discard? They don't. I'm not sure what my opponent is thinking right now. Just the one energy. Yeah. But yeah, if you guys have any question about this deck, please let me know in the comments. I'll let you guys know. This deck is fun, but it kind of auto loses to Regidrago. So they're boss ordering. But yeah, it auto loses Regidrago, which is probably one of the most played deck at the moment. I don't know if it's the best deck in format, but it is like top tier deck. Which is why I know a lot of you guys do message me wanting the deck list. I didn't release it because I was going to Toronto. But yeah, I was going to play it. Then I realized Regidrago's going to be like the most played. I do not want to put myself through that. They just boss out my Luminion. And then just doing 30 damage. We have an energy in hand to retreat. Counter is kind of useless. I'm going to Pidgeot here for probably a supporter. A Kieran. Just because we don't really need to use any supporter. They only have 3 cards in hand. I think a faster play would just be like, I could have boss the Fez. But we're going to save boss for next turn. Because we're down to 2 prize now. Yeah, I could have. And our opponent just FF.
That is it for this deck, guy, but we got plenty more coming soon. But in the meantime, you guys check out my other videos right over here. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Whoosh.